Hello, my name is Bridget Brownlee. I am a student at Liberty University, of course. Today I will be discussing with you my interpersonal communication skills or the lack thereof. By the end of this presentation, it is my hope that you will be more familiar with myself as well as the way that I communicate on a day-to-day basis. My overarching goal is that I'm able to communicate more meaningfully and more effectively. And the way that I feel like I can communicate those goals are to listen more and speak less. Because when you're really in tune with someone and you're listening to the conversation, you don't have to speak as much. You're more focused on listening to the person and not waiting on your opportunity to speak. And I'll speak about that more in the presentation as well. And by the time this task is accomplished, it is my goal that in any conversation that I have, it won't be rushed or one-sided. I will be more in tune with what the person is trying to speak to me. My behavior blend is a steady influencer, SI. And according to my Uniquely You profile report, I'm expected to be submissive and inspiring. It says that I'm expected to be passive in small groups and outgoing in crowds. Actually, I am both outgoing in small groups as well as in crowds. Sometimes I can come off as a little more reserved until I warm up to the person and get to know them better. And at that point, they'll be comfortable with me and I'll be comfortable with them. And they will remember that they had a conversation with me. In my job, I'm currently an office manager at a school, and I'm expected to be assertive in my position. But I have a problem with doing so because I'm not a confrontational person. It's easier for me to let a person say or do with it whatever they want to do, and I just can't get the words up to be assertive with them and make them do what I need them to do. And I also have a hard time, like if you're an adult, I don't feel like I should have to tell an adult how to do the right thing, although I know that's my position and I really need to be better at that. I am very passionate about helping and encouraging and supporting people. That's why I chose the helping field of human service counseling, because I feel like I do a great job in helping, encouraging, and supporting other people. And asking someone to do something more than once or demanding that they do something that I asked them to do, that's just not my personality. Another behavior blend is competent influencing specialist. I am a very emotional person and I wear my heart on my sleeve. My goal is to see everyone happy and make sure that they're taken care of despite how it will make me feel, or if I'm missing or lacking something, it doesn't matter because I'm worried about the other person being taken care of. And I don't have a problem going without, of course, if that means that someone else is taken care of. And if my feelings are hurt, you will know it because I just won't deal with you, or I try to avoid being around you because I don't want anything to become confrontational at all. So I just avoid the situation altogether. And I feel as though if my family or myself, if we're threatened, that's when I can be an assertive person, and I can't be nice to someone when they're threatening me or my family, because I feel like it's my responsibility to make sure my family is taken care of. According to Stewart, interpersonal communication is the kind of communication that happens when people involved talk and listen in ways that maximize the presence of the personal. Being able to communicate with someone and not judge them based on their socioeconomic status, race, religion, or background, just accepting the person and what they have to give to the conversation and taking that for what it is. I think it's so important at any point in time to not be judgmental or critical to a person when they're having a conversation with you. One of the important attributes of the interpersonal communications that people involved choose to be personal over impersonal, and that's according to Stewart. Some of the communication barriers, according to Carbonell, with the S-type personality, I respond to anger and aggression in a kind and sweet way. I know it's weird, but like I said, I'm not a confrontational person, so it's hard for me to respond in any other way, of course, unless I feel threatened, and then my defenses go up. This holds true because of the fact that if you avoid confrontation and you try to appease people the best way that you know how. So that's a communication barrier. And I believe that this is a positive attribute of my communication skills, because instead of me being the type of person that wants to argue and fuss and be demanding, I'm more of the kind and sweet person. Although sometimes that allows me to be ran over or taken for granted, I'm just still that type of person. Temperament. I have found that my biggest communication barrier is my temperament. I can really allow people to get under my skin sometimes and find myself being reactive instead of proactive. According to Carbonell, temperate is the controlling of your actions and feelings. Not being able to control your temper is a communication barrier that you cannot have a conversation effectively if you're yelling, screaming, and not willing to hear the other person out. No one can have a conversation when you're yelling and not listening to the person that's speaking to you, because they're not coming to you in a receptive way, and that's just pretty much how it is. You have better control over the temperature of the conversation when you are able to control your own temper. Listening is another communication barrier that I struggle with, because most of the time I want to speak instead of listen. So Peterson describes ritual listening as a person that seems to be listening attentively, but they're actually waiting for you to stop talking so that they can begin speaking. And that's me. Instead of listening, I'm formulating in my mind my response to the person that I'm speaking to. And Peterson suggests that when you catch yourself ritual listening, you need to refocus on the conversation that you're having and actually listen to what the speaker is saying. Some other distractions are external distractions. According to Burley Allen, mannerisms, appearance, loud noise, such as traffic and machinery, views of activity or scenery, interruptions, or phone calls, all of that can be communication barriers. And especially we live in a time now where everybody's always on their phone, so you can't even really have a conversation with anyone without them taking their phone out and doing something on their phones. One of the resources that I learned was to communicate in a way that people understood. And when you use terminology that is familiar to a person, it's easier for the conversation to flow according to the way that it's supposed to flow. In conversation, when I find myself about to get angry, I need to take some time, collect myself, so that my staff won't lose credibility in me. And that's what I have to do as an office manager. If I feel like I'm about to get upset, I need to step back, rethink the situation, and then go from there and try to work on my delivery. Different strategies that I can use are my body posture, make sure that I'm in a position to where I'm able to receive, my facial expressions, and my spatial behavior. Make sure that I'm positioned in a way that I'm able to listen effectively to the person that's talking to me. The action plan, or the steps that I will take to achieve my overarching goal, are to listen, respect the speaker, show concern while speaking, process the information that I heard before responding, respond appropriately, and stay in control of my temper. And in conclusion, the quote that I used to end was, say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean. There's so much in that quote. Say what you mean Don't sugarcoat anything for anybody, but at the same time, we have to be considerate of other people's feelings. The Bible tells us that we need to treat others the way that we want to be treated. We need to have a heart for God and a heart for people. So say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean. I hope you all enjoy this presentation. Again, my name is Bridget Brownlee. I've enjoyed this course thoroughly, and I have learned so much about my communication skills. Thank you and have a great night.